welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Matt, for having me.
First one of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, so how's your day been anyway?
Day's been really good, actually. Yeah, really good. Thank you.
Good. So Mubs, talk me through, I know we've got loads of stuff to talk about, not just next stuff either, but just talk me through, where are you in the business? Like, what part of the realm are you in?
Yeah. So my journey to Next is I've been here for around 2.5 years now. I started as a desktop engineer.
Oh no!
You remember those days running around like headless chicken, trying to sort everything out. I'm now in the Security Remediation Team, working as an infrastructure engineer. And my role evolves around looking at threats and vulnerabilities across the business, in particular IT assets. So those are laptops, servers, desktops. And making sure that those assets are compliant and making sure any vulnerabilities that are there, we make sure we remediate those, basically. So it's pretty much keeping the bad guys out, making sure that the devices that you guys are...
bad guys.
Exactly. So making sure your devices that you guys are using on a daily basis is running smoothly as it should.
Oh, nice. But that's quite a big... I know that's been quite a big and growing area, hasn't it? Because as technology's evolved, obviously people have got smarter, so there's more ways now for people to try and infiltrate 100%. The next servers. So we've had to get smarter. Yeah. And it's just an ever-growing kind of constant to and fro battle, I guess, in a way.
That's right, Matt. Honestly, and technology's, massively growing and rapidly, at a very fast pace. What was yesterday's technology is kind of moved to something new now today. So we have to always keep up to date with the latest technologies, etc. So it is keeping us on our toes constantly, just to make sure that what we're doing is right, etc. Just to keep everyone happy in the business.
How do you get into something like that anyway? Because obviously I remember you being in desktop, being one of the most helpful people in desktop. I must add as well.
Thank you very much.
Especially I can imagine when people are like, my Mac don't work, my PC don't work, my Chromebook don't work. Yeah. You're like, I'll come and help. But how come you went for that particular role? Because there's loads of roles in tech, isn't there, that you could have gone for, really?
Yeah, the opportunity arose for me to look into a bit of a more security side of things. I've always had a kind of knack for that.
Nice.
I love looking at, what has actually caused that? What can we do to kind of fix that and prevent that from happening again, and that's something I've always had a keen interest in. And that's something I really want to pursue even further. And the good thing about Next is, the opportunity came and I went for it and, and successfully got it, so which was absolutely brilliant. And that's a really good thing about Next. There's endless opportunities.
Yeah. Totally agree.
So it was no brainer. I just went for it and got it. So yeah.
So seeking a lot of opportunities in work.
Yeah.
But then also out of work, you've been you were pretty busy last year, weren't you?
Yes, very busy, very very busy last year actually.
So do you want to talk us through? So I first got wind of you running a London marathon. But then the story evolved. So actually, do you know what? Do you want to tell the story of what you did?
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, right, this sounds really interesting. I want to know more. So you didn't just run a marathon though, did you? What else did you do?
So I'm an avid runner. So I've run quite a few marathons now in my running journey. My journey started back in 2016 when I took the Leicester Half Marathon. Just to give a background context to this. What I found was a source of inspiration from a good friend of mine who's raising money for good causes, and I wanted to take up running. And running has now become my passion. It's become my lifestyle.
Oh, really? You're obsessed with it?
Completely obsessed.
Good.
It's a good addiction, actually.
It's a very good addiction.
And it's helped me massively, not just physically, but also for my mental well-being as well. So fast forward 7 years, I had the opportunity to run the London Marathon as an official pacer. So pacers are those people who wear flags behind their backs whilst they're running.
So like markers for people.
For markers for people, exactly.
So they know that if I've got to keep up with that.
Exactly.
To get this. So have you got a time on it?
You have a time on it, yeah. So each pacer would be designated a time. Because what tends to happen in the marathon is people tend to go out too fast too soon.
Like adrenaline.
Like adrenaline rush, exactly. All the excitement and all the, the race hype that you see in London, especially because it's such an iconic event. So I was given the opportunity to pace at the London Marathon. But that running itself, it's a challenge. 26.2 miles is no joke.
Yeah.
But also I had to train throughout Ramadan, which is a very important month for Muslims, is to fast between dawn till dusk. So you're talking around 12 hours of abstaining from food and drink, which is pretty challenging.
Especially the drink bit as well.
Exactly.
Especially when you're training.
Exactly. Yeah. So what was really difficult was to kind of, setting the right mindset, because it's hard to fast and not have anyway. And the problem I have is always a coffee withdrawal symptoms.
You're a bit of a coffee addict.
Exactly. It's not the food, it's the coffee that I really miss, to be honest. But through, putting that into the mix of things was a real challenge. So abstaining from food and drink for 13 hours and then to run after that was, you just feel very lethargic. You're very sleep deprived as it is, because you're waking up early in the morning to eat something. And going out and training is a mental challenge, to be honest.
So that was throughout the majority of your training then, right up until the point you did the marathon as a pace setter, is it?
That's right, as a pacer. So the lead up to the marathon was just like a day or two just before you can start eating again. So it takes at least a couple of days to kind of readjust, to recalibrate your body back to basics almost. So that was an absolutely humongous challenge, honestly. It really was. But when the opportunity came for me to be an official pacer, I mean, it was no brainer. I really wanted to do it because I love helping the running community out, and helping other fellow runners achieve their goal. And it gives me great satisfaction to get people their personal bests. And make sure they have a really pleasant experience of the marathon. Because what tends to happen is when people do run the marathons, all the adrenaline that we just discussed, they don't have a pleasant experience and they don't get the time that they want. So my goal is to not just run the marathon, but also you have that extra responsibility to kind of ensure that the people that you're running with, they're also quite happy, and you motivate them, you encourage them, and you give them, good words of wisdom to kind of get through the latter stage of the marathon where, when you can be in the pain cave, so to call, when things get really tough.
How did you actually become, how do you become a pacer in the first place? Because I guess they've got to pick people that are quite competent in running, because so did you have a time that you had to stick to then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
what was that time?
So that time was sub 3:15. So you got to run your time in 3 hours and 15 minutes.
So you can't even think, right, I'm going to push on. You're all the time just
exactly
watching your watch, like, I've got to up it a bit, bring it back a bit.
Exactly. You're constantly clock watching, man. Honestly, it's such a hard tactic to have, because you got to be very disciplined. And every mile markers, if it's the first 5 miles, first 10 miles, your pacing has to be spot on and not be erratic. So I can't say, right, guys, we're going to be running off and sprinting off now, or we're going to be slowing it down to bank time. What's really important is to stick to a consistent pace throughout, whether if you're going uphill or downhill. So just keep a really perceived effort, basically.
Because anything, I've always thought, and I might be totally wrong, because I've never run a marathon myself, and I don't think I'm built for it. I don't think I'm built for long distance running, but I thought anything under 4 was classed as pretty good.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're doing around 3:15 is a quick pace anyway.
Yeah.
So did that push you to your limits, or is that within your limits?
No, that's within my comfortable zone, to be honest, man.
Show
off. So they only let you pace at a time where you're actually comfortable with, because you can't be redlining it, and you can't be going at a time where you've not done that in your marathon before. If that makes sense. And they look at your criteria. So going back to your question about how do you become one, you have to put in an application in. And then you get shortlisted amongst many runners, because they want to see if your pacing has been done correctly before as well, because you kind of get blacklisted almost if you've not done it correctly before.
Very
a proper
process.
It's a proper process to go through. And they want to see that you're encouraging, you're motivating, you're quite courageous in terms of giving back to the running community, and you can run that time basically. So it's a huge responsibility, honestly, massive.
Wow.
But like I said before, I mean, like when you finish the marathon, the adrenaline, the endorphins that come out from it, and people are like patting on your back to say, thank you so much, you got me my personal best today, So
do you end up with like a group?
You end up with a group of just runners. You end up with a group
around you that are like, oh, right, yeah, that's it. And do you get kind of people that are with you for a large chunk of it and then kind of go because they're like, I've only got 2 kilometers, I can do this, and you're like, you go. So you're motivating them as well as running.
Exactly.
Gosh,
and I always tell them when to go as well, because they don't want to go too soon as well, and then kind of be like, oh God, I went a bit too soon and I should have stuck with the pacer. But within like 2k or 1 mile left of the marathon, I always say to them, just go now, just go now, and
go.
just don't
and
let
you get people from behind joining you.
Exactly, you get that as well. You know, so it is so satisfying, honestly, Matt. It's one of the best things I could have ever done, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. Something that I really love giving back to the running community, because it's given me so much throughout the years.
Well, it's proper. I mean, like I said, when I first heard it, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, you've run the marathon, and I was like, well, that's a massive achievement in itself. And then, oh no, you were a pacer, and then, oh no, and as well, you were fasting, and I was like, have you done this? Like, I need to talk to you about this. I want to get all the details on it. So that's why, you know, and I thought, oh, perfect time, you know, to talk about it right at the start of this year. Sorry, I'm going all over the place, but it's because you told me everything, and I was like, "Oh, that's great. I've got to ask about that and that." Right. So how have you trained for that? Because training for a marathon, you know, I've had people in my team that are training for marathons, or I know of people. I think even the HR director, he's done one in the past as well, I've spoken to people, and they're like, it's a proper grueling discipline. You got to be disciplined because you got to, you know, build up to it, but then you've added the fasting into it. So like, how are you fitting that in and making sure that works?
I mean, that's a really good question, Matt, because it's so hard, you know. Just training for the marathon, it takes 18 weeks at least, so it's 4 months prior to the event. And you know, if you're training for like a spring marathon, you have to train throughout the winter when it's cold, dark days, you know, and it's so hard to have that motivation to keep on going. And that's something I always kind of find myself is, what is my motivation? What is, you know, what drives me, you know? And
what does drive you,
and it's always goals, you know, always set ambitious goals in terms of like times in particular. I always want to go for a faster time. I've always wanted to kind of beat my personal best. You know, how can I achieve, you know, if I wanted to break 3 hours as an example, how can I get there? What can I do to change things around? How can I factor in better nutrition this time around and better training? But training throughout Ramadan is so hard. It really is, because, you know, we have to not just do the fasting side of things, but we have to reflect. There's lots of prayer involved. There's lots of charity involved. There's lots of emphasis on the people who are less fortunate than us as well. So there's lots of other things that tie in with the Ramadan as well. Not just
other commitments.
Throughout the day, you know. Let's set aside just praying 5 times a day, but also the other things that come with it. And not many people see that, and it's that desire to keep on pushing even when it's hard mentally, and just having that resilience in that dedication. Because I know when I got selected for the London Marathon to become an official pacer, I thought to myself, I can't let anyone down. It's a huge responsibility, you know, and I'm quite hard on myself when it comes to things like that, you know. So
I can relate.
It's something that, you know, it's if people are relying on you, especially, you know, you don't want to let them down. No. And it's something that I thought I've got to do it, and no matter what, I'll do what I can to kind of achieve that.
So do you schedule? You must have had to have a pretty tight schedule then, because you were like, right, I've got prayer and then I'm fasting then, and then I've got to train this time, and then obviously personal life as well, and work honestly, it's absolutely crazy, man, because when you're fasting, it's so hard to start eating again, and when sun goes down, like, you know, it was like 8:15, 8:20ish in the evening. It's so hard to kind of get all the fuel that you need, and you feel very fatigued, and you have to make sure you get the right amount of carbs, amount of electrolytes in yourself as well, and you're kind of trying to just gulp everything down, you know, for about 5-6 hours before you start fasting again. Right.
So I would always kind of, you know, other people kind of, the way they do it is different. I always try to run just before sundown, so I know when I finish my run, I can eat something and I can kind of replenish the lost calories and the lost fuel that I've got.
So your body's burning more.
Burning fat, exactly. So always trying to kind of replenish fuel just when I've finished the run.
And mentally, what was that like as well? Because I guess there's the physical side, which is obviously draining.
Yeah.
But then, what was the mental side like as well?
That was tough. That was
Did it
really...
become? Because we'll get into this in a bit, but like, you know, why you run and stuff, and I'm sure there's some sort of mental aspect there as well of running. Like every person I speak to that runs, I mean, even I do it on the odd occasion. I'm more gym and HIIT and stuff like that, and a mixture, not a pure runner, but every runner I know, they're like, the mental relief is just the number one thing. But how did that impact you then on the mental side? Like,
yeah, I mean, that was tough. That was really hard, honestly, because it's something that I've not done before. Training for a marathon throughout Ramadan as well. I normally take a back seat and just keep the legs taking over.
Yeah.
Just to keep my fitness going. So that was really tough. But like I said, you know, I'm quite hard on myself, and I had to make sure that I have to get those miles in, because the last thing I want is to kind of let anyone down and let London Marathon down. So it was something that I just didn't want to kind of fail on.
Yeah. Just that constant drive to not let people down and do the best possible job.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can feel that. And where has your love for running come from? Because that's very clear. Like you said right at the start, I got a massive passion for it. Yeah. You didn't just wake up one day, I'm going to go and run a marathon. I'm going to go run a marathon. I think you said, 2016 you started
2016 Leicester Half Marathon. Yeah, I kind of fell out of love for football, to be honest. I used to be a regular footballer, and I kind of fell out of love of that, to be honest. I wanted to do something a bit more meaningful, to raise money for good causes.
Okay.
And I signed up to the Leicester Half Marathon back in 2016, thinking it's probably will be a one-off thing and just, you know, raise money, have my family there. But the love for running came from there. Honestly, the camaraderie that you see at a running event, the people that are pushing you on, is absolutely amazing. And I remember finishing the Leicester Half Marathon absolutely in bits, you know, because it was like, I paid for this, being in pain.
I paid to be tortured.
Exactly, paid to be tortured, exactly. Yeah. But equally, it was so satisfying, because I thought to myself, you know what, I could do better and I can do more. And I wanted to kind of challenge myself even more. And maybe I thought, maybe I could do the marathon distance and maybe improve my times also in the half marathon.
So you start with halves more.
Start with halves more.
Work your way up.
Exactly. Yeah. But something that really kind of took my journey more was the parkrun initiative.
Okay.
So I do that really.
Is that how you got in?
And that's how I
got into it. Yeah.
Got into it as well. Yeah. So Leicester Victoria is my local parkrun.
It's a nice parkrun.
Which is a beautiful parkrun, actually. Yeah. So for those that don't know, it's a community event that takes place every Saturday.
Good plug. They'll like that.
You can run, you can walk, you can jog, you can volunteer. And the beauty about parkrun is inclusive to all abilities. You know, it doesn't matter if you're young as 20 or if you're in your old ages. It doesn't matter. It's inclusive to all.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's the beauty of parkrun. I love that. Absolutely. You know, seeing everyone's journey. It doesn't matter if it takes you 20 minutes to do a parkrun or if it takes you an hour to do a parkrun 5K. But everyone's there for one common goal. Yeah. To run the distance and to kind of enjoy the sport, even if it's for a social aspect, you know. Yeah.
Do you love it on cold, wet mornings?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Do you know that, Matt? Absolutely love it.
You liar. You liar. I'm gonna come and see. I'm gonna wait till it's like freezing cold, raining in like February or something. Yeah. And be like, do you still love this?
But the love for running even came from there. Just seeing the camaraderie, you know, from people and seeing, wow, this is absolutely incredible, you know. So that's where the love for running came. And my wife, she runs as well, and my two children, they run as well. So I'm very, very grateful for the fact that even they've taken it on board. So we've got a shared family interest now, which is nice.
Wow. Proper, all geared up. All geared up, ready to go
exactly.
Ready to go for a run. So they all do the park run as well?
So my two kids, they do the junior park run, which is 2K. Nice. In Ayleston junior park run, whereas myself and my wife do the adult junior park run on Saturdays. Brilliant. So it's beautiful, honestly. It's just lovely just to kind of, you know, even just kind of instill health and fitness in children as well, just to kind of get them involved in it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think that's really, really important. So you do a lot of park runs, and you started through half marathons and got to the marathons. Seems like you seem like you give back quite a lot as well, which is really nice. And there's quite a lot of people here at Next that do that you meet and you're like, wow, that's really like really motivational as well. Like, oh, can I do something? So is there anything you've done within Next that kind of with running, is there anything that you've brought to Next running wise or anything like that? Or
so we do the Couch to 5K program at Next through the sports and social groups. We do that every Monday at 5 o'clock.
Monday.
I know. wrong day to choose, isn't it? I know. But we do that every Monday at 5 o'clock, phase 1 reception. And the idea is for people who've completely beginners, who've never run before and want to take up running. There's a really supportive group whereby we will encourage you to do a Couch to 5K program. So by the end of 9 weeks, you're able to run 5K. And we've seen some really good response from Next, people who've never ran before.
Like literally never put any sort of running trainers on or any, or even tried it.
Not even tried it whatsoever. No. And they've finished the program and they felt so good about themselves and said, this is absolutely amazing. And they want to continue doing that. And that's so rewarding, that is.
And the sports and social, that's what? Just explain that for me. The sports and social.
Yeah, so the sports and social stuff that we have at Next. There's lots of different activities that happen in Next. So there's like yoga. There's the running side of things. There's
social
trips, exactly. There's sport for choice, to be honest. So we look after the running side of things and to make sure if anybody wants to take up running, we can look after them and get them onto their 5K journey.
Wow. And I guess that's really rewarding as well. Like, and that's you and others organising that, getting people to sign up.
Exactly.
And then helping, kind of almost coaching and helping people along that journey as well.
That's right. And by the end of the 9 weeks, what we tend to do is to they do a park run basically.
Oh,
we do a nice graduation run.
Take them to a local
one. And we do like a little medal ceremony, with some cakes, etc. So it's really nice.
Nice. How long's that been going now as well?
So it's going for about a year now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really good.
Which is
really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, like you just love running then.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, it's the quest for me now is to run the 6 major marathons in the world. So it's known as the Abbott's World Major Marathons.
Okay. So what's that? London.
So it's London, Berlin.
All in 1 year.
No, you can do it whenever.
Right. Sorry, I'm adding another.
That'd be brutal. That would be mad. Yeah. So you do London, Berlin, Chicago, New York, Boston, and Tokyo. And nice. I've done London, Berlin, and Chicago. I'm off to do Boston soon in America. So and once you do all 6. They're kind of renowned in the world. Basically, you get this big, massive medal to say that you're one of the 6-star finishers. Basically,
wow.
So currently, I'm on a quest to do that.
What's the next one then?
Boston.
Sorry,
Boston.
Boston
is the next one. And then followed by New York, and then Tokyo. Hopefully, my last one.
Wow.
And then maybe retire from marathon. Take up another sport. I'm joking.
But, no, that's great.
Yeah.
And what keeps you going though? Like, what keeps driving you to do these extra things all the time, other than just the love of running?
Yeah, I mean, it's helped me out massively, Matt, honestly, in terms of just, not just physically, but for my mental well-being. And I think that is such an important thing, because me as a mental health first aider for Next as well.
Oh, okay. You're one of the mental health first aiders as well.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And I know how important it is for self-care. I mean, that's something that we always say if people are struggling with anxiety, depression, etc. Is, yes, we have our work life. Yes, we have our family life and personal lives. But what are we doing for ourselves?
Great question.
And self-care is so important. I'm not saying everybody go run a marathon, but I'm saying do something that's gonna help you in terms of your physical activity and also your mental well-being. And just going back to like parkrun, for example, that the Royal College of GPs, they're now prescribing parkrun as an initiative to people who suffer from anxiety and depression for parkrun now. So instead of giving medication, they'll say, why don't you do a parkrun instead?
I'm all for that.
And that will help you.
Yeah.
A is saving on costs, as an example. But there's so many other benefits. And
well, you hear those horror stories as well, don't you? That people that get hooked on like antidepressants and stuff as well. I mean, I'm not saying don't take them, but and I'm sure there's horror stories about people that have broken legs when they've ran as well. But total extremes. But if there's something natural that you can just do as easy as go for a run,
exactly.
Like you could literally, your GP could tell you could start that like. Straight away.
Completely free, go get some trainers, off you go and see how it goes, and that will help you massively. And I think that's what's for me, in terms of, I know how much benefits it has for running, you know, like I said before, not just physically, but also for mental well-being. And that self-care is so important. Like, there's days where if I don't go for a run, I'll just feel like my day's not gone right.
Right.
You know, it just clears my head. It's just gives me the opportunity to just be at oneself, which is nice.
Yeah, I totally
and
agree.
And a bit of the escapism almost.
I totally agree with you. It's like, you know, it's probably one of the only times when you were doing any form of exercise that you're just with you. And I think it's a really good thing to just have that time with yourself.
Yeah.
To just kind of check in, even if you've got your headphones on. And like I said before, I will run. I will do 5Ks. So
brilliant.
I could do a park run. So you know,
we work on the marathon.
No. Like I get to like the 10K mark, and then my mind starts getting a bit bored.
Yeah,
and I'm
like, a lot of people say that to me. Honestly, how do you stay motivated?
Yeah.
How can you just run for 3 hours and not get bored of it?
Yeah, I know. I just don't. That's what amazes me. But you know, for me, it's always like the gym, and go to the gym and to really decompress, or, you know, or even sometimes I don't just use it as that. I use it to think about something in particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if something's on my mind, I'll think about that, process it, and then when I walk out, it's almost like, right, that's your processing time. And you've also done something good for your body as well. Yeah. And I clearly notice the difference when I have and I haven't. But it's such a massive, massive benefit of exercising.
And for me, even like when running marathons, etc., it's you know, when you're in the pain cave almost, when you that's what I like to call it, when you're like 20 miles in the marathon, when it's hurting and you're just questioning your sanity, thinking, why have I paid 50 odd quid for this? You know, I could be sat at home watching Netflix or something. But I love that where you can just push. It's amazing what the human body is capable of, honestly, and that mental resilience to keep on pushing when things get really hard. And you can bring that into your normal life as well, which is good. So even with your working life, you can bring that mental resilience in your day-to-day life.
Which I think is really important in all jobs, you know, not just at Next as well, but having that resilience to have either a difficult conversation or the resilience to put forward an idea that maybe no one else is thinking. Yeah. And you might get I'm not sure yet, or someone else might tweak it. And you've got to be able to have that resilience to take that feedback on board.
That's right. Yeah.
And then move on as well. Whereas if you don't, you're probably going to take it in the wrong way. Yeah. And then that's going to start cascading and snowballing into other things. And no one wants that. So there's so many aspects of it. So yeah, very, very, I would advise anyone that's not currently running to run. Yeah. Or any exercise, actually. Do you do any other exercise, or is it just running?
It's just running now. I kind of retired from football after 2016. I thought I can't do both together. I'm going to end up getting injured. So my primary goal is to kind of just get better at running and be able to help others out as well in their journey. And the passion that I have, I can hopefully give that to somebody else and inspire somebody to take up running, because it's definitely changed my life.
Yeah, I guess I should probably, now that I've, now you've done me the pleasure of coming onto the podcast, I guess I should come and do a 5K with you at some
have to
point.
come. You will get a medal and some cake.
I get a medal. All right, I'm definitely coming. There's that competitive edge coming back out. But no, I definitely will. But no, it's great. It's great that you're doing that for so many people, not just in the London Marathon, but at Next as well.
Yes.
I really admire that, and it's really motivating to hear as well. Like really is.
Thank you.
No, so thanks for coming on and chatting through and telling that story, because I think it's a great one.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you. And it's been great chatting.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Matt.